Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to this stream of Hearts of Iron 4. This is Kaiserreich, and we are the American Union State. Now, if you missed the beginning of this, it will be uploaded onto YouTube, and if you're watching this on YouTube and you missed the beginning of this, then why did you start in the middle of the series? Basically, I did an out-of-order recording on Thursday because I was supposed to be doing Crusader Kings then, but wasn't able to. So I did this instead. And that is where we are right now. So the United States is actually pretty well divided between the four nations at the moment. The United States itself is slowly losing territory. I mean, we've taken Texas from them. That's kind of the big blow that they've suffered. But the CSA have been kind of pushing us themselves down through the center while we're focusing on the CSA, on the USA. But now that we've freed up some of our forces from that, we can start pushing back on the East Coast. Meanwhile, the PSA over here are pushing in themselves. So I doubt that the USA has much left in them. And in fact, no, they most certainly don't. All right, cool. Oh, hello, everyone. Hello. So we have got a research slot available, and we are waiting until January before we actually do that. We have shifted Trodling's forces over here to the right. They were the ones that helped us push over here against the USA. Meanwhile, Igel is himself fighting for Texas. And once we've taken over this province, then we can basically just leave you to it. So yeah, once you've taken that, that's fine. And then we've got Fiddler's Reach basically holding the main front against the CSA. He's been pushed back a little bit, but that's because I stripped him of his best troops, which Trodling is now using. So our regular infantry forces have all been concentrated into one unit, and then Fiddlers and Igel are both using militia forces. That's mostly because the regular infantry use artillery, which we've only just really started to make in any decent quantities, and we are apparently running out of guns, which is not a good thing. But any more factories that we get will be added to that instead. Did MacArthur take over the USA? Probably. No, he didn't. Garner's still in charge. Garner clearly believes that he is the Caesar of the USA. So, yeah, that's where we are. We did launch one assault from Norfolk through Delaware, trying to get to Washington, D.C., but unfortunately we were thwarted, and they actually got cut off and destroyed. So Trodling's first forces were included in that number, but we have since gained a couple more infantry divisions. So he's back in business. But the USA still holds... Well, we have Washington, D.C., because we actually pushed up along the coast itself. But they still have Baltimore, and we have not been able to shift them out of Baltimore, because for a long time, any volunteers were moving into Baltimore. So you can see the Austrians are here. There were 7 divisions of Russians there at one stage, but I'm going to assume that they've actually managed to move somewhere else, or have otherwise been removed. Right, because Russia went to war. Russia are at war with Alish Order, which is why they are not themselves able to send any volunteers. So in the meantime... Second World War has not yet kicked off. We have the Spanish Civil War, which has only just begun, probably in the last 6 months or so, if even that. And then the Belgrade Pact are fighting against Bulgaria, and Bulgaria actually seem to be doing fairly well. The Ottomans are on the Bulgarian side. They are. Oh, that's fascinating. Interesting. So Bulgaria is actually buddied up to the Ottomans, their fellow friends in the... First World War, and the Ottomans have actually supported them in that fight. So, Belgrade Pact might actually be in trouble here. Oh, this is going to be one of the first times I ever see Bulgaria actually win that one. Awesome. Bets on the fall of France? Haha, good question. Use paratroopers. I would if I had an air force. Like at the moment we're outgunned in the skies and we do not have the industry to do it. We've actually got a fairly decent industry now. 18 civilian, 13 military to their 5 military, and 30 civilian. United States is down to 9 and 2, and then the PSA have 15 and 2. So military factories are actually doing fairly well. That's mostly because I have been focusing the economic side of this really quite heavily, oddly enough, and we've gone for the corporate economics because it is a better long-term choice. So if you take populist economics, you can get your wartime industry going up faster, but I decided to take a bit of a gamble to basically say, right, we can hold our lines while we get the industry up and running, and then as soon as that is, then we can basically just push, and battle of attrition will win. And that's where we stand. Plus, taking Texas is going to be huge, because Texas is a big industrial area, and it's going to hurt the United States a lot because we took that. Alright, so CSA constantly still trying to push through into Norfolk, but we have got that fortified. That is the job of Army 1 here, who I should probably rename. Wow, you guys are veteran. You guys get a lot of experience because you're just sitting there winning battles. I wonder if I should switch you out for somebody else and let them get a bit of experience. Possibly even some of the infantry, although these guys are also going to be getting experience just because they do a lot of the heavy lifting. I'm kind of tempted to do that. So the Italians are holding that spot right now. Let's add you two to this force. When you arrive, then we'll cycle out these two and have them fortify the Fiddler's Reach line. Alright, so meanwhile, Trotling, you are trying to get some planning preparation done. Speaking of planning prep, we are currently undertaking to get mobile warfare because we're going to have very good medium tanks. So our industry bonuses are the medium tanks. Kind of like the flag. We spent a long time picking that flag, probably about half an hour last stream, just basically cycling through the different choices. Greece is gone. And we did eventually settle on this one, which is the Torch and Eagle choice. So the AUS now have a choice of 4 different flags. So the original one, which is the Stripes and Eagle, one which is the Coast Guard flag, which is like this one but not, and then the Solitaire, which is definitely not the Confederate flag, although it is the most reminiscent of it. Oh, speaking of Confederates, so I was looking through this and I saw, oh, some of these actually have real names, like the Little Rockers and the Alabama Good Old Boys. There was also one very suspiciously named regiment called the White Wizards. I have since renamed the White Wizards. They are now known as the White Knights. I think that's more appropriate for their true belief set. I still had to chuckle about that though. I was like, oh, AUS. Oh. Obviously, KK, bad. Don't support them. Okay, so, Igel, you have taken that bit. That means that you are now going to be able to reinforce this line, which is good because it is looking dodgy as hell. There are going to be quite a few holes over there, so we may well need to switch Trottling back to that front line at some point. You guys have arrived, so you two can go ahead and join his line. As soon as you leave, or as soon as you're allowed to leave. Bulgaria and Serbia have signed a white peace. You lost! How? You gave up land to Serbia. You were winning. Why would you do this? You had the Ottomans on your side. Oh, Bulgaria. Make Louisiana French again. I'm going to make Louisiana great again. And keep me a hair in my eyes. Very annoying. There is a mod where everything in this mod is the same except for Jeb Bush controls the AUS and you get 100 million manpower. He also renames the country. Right. Are you ready yet? You're about halfway. And we are now in January, so I can get the research. And it is 38, so I think I will be grabbing the computing machine to make my computing a bit better. And you guys are getting into position. Right, do we have any spots which are just open? One. Actually, with just one spot open, so it is fragile. But we have a fairly decent defensive line, so it's fine. The bit I'm most worried about is this bulge here. So I think I'm going to try and put some pressure on, try and take at least the East Coast away from the CSA and kind of turn them into a bit more of a horseshoe. So how are you guys looking? You're going to need a bit more time. That can be arranged. That can certainly be arranged. In the meantime, how is the Air Force doing? Where have I got you assigned right now? You're assigned up there. You're assigned into here where there's not actually that much fighting going on. I think we're going to want some more air support here, so let's go shift you all into that area. And in fact, once you've arrived, I'm going to have you all based out of there because that should give you better coverage over the northeast. And indeed it does. So we're actually putting up a fight for the northeast. You can move up there too. Right, good. And if I recall correctly, we are in fact researching better fighters, which will allow me to get some more aircraft in the skies. Then we could potentially try some paratroopers, maybe. Although getting through to them, I mean, part of the problem with this war is it is kind of static because there's no real armoured units or anything in play. So it can be kind of hard to link up with the paratroopers. Although one of the nice things coming out in the new DLC, the Awakening the Tiger, is they're adding commandos which actually fight like commandos. So they have like additional supplies, so they can stand being surrounded for longer, and you can like really specialize them far more than you can now. But the downside is they are now limited in numbers. So if you get too many, you can't get too many commandos. It's not so much that they're limited by their supply cost, equipment cost as they are right now, but rather there is just a hard cap. And I would assume that focuses would allow you to change that cap. So for example, Italy might be able to get some more because their commandos were kind of famous. Britain would be another one. Right, untapped oil reserves. The AUS desperately needs oil for its air force, and the government scavenged the fledgling country for any oil that it could find. After exhaustive search, several hundred barrels were gathered and handed over to the air force. 3 oil in Louisiana. Well, that's nice, but I don't really believe this whole oil shortage thing, because I have like 500 from this. I own the biggest oil reserve in the world. So, yeah. Are you guys ready for a push? Almost. I mean, they're actually trying to counter into us at the moment. The whole line is kind of static. I think the USA is starting to push me a bit there. So I would like to do some damage. Support our food companies. Good. To make sure that we have the food for the people to support us. For the people, let us support the farming companies and those that help out the farmers. This will make sure that our men have all the supplies and we have all the resources to win this war. So that gives us civilian construction speed, which is quite good, supply consumption reduction and resource gain efficiency. Don't really need any of them, but that's kind of leaning down to these. So let's go and grab the infrastructure. There are a number of railroad companies throughout the country, as well as automotive companies. By working closely with them, we can build roads and rails needed to bring our troops to the front lines and keep our men supplied. This is just another step in bringing victory to all true Americans. Hey, Trotling. You're about to do some attacking, actually, Trotling, so it's good that you're here to lead your men. Although we are still waiting for some opportunities, although actually there are some opportunities because you are attacking me. Let's go ahead and launch a counter-attack, shall we? And actually go push this line back a bit. How are you guys doing? You are getting quite a lot of experience. It's quite nice to see that the super veterans that were holding Virginia for this amount of time are now going to be well positioned to assist Trotling. The one I'm still the most concerned about is you. I'm kind of hoping that the PSA is able to put enough pressure on the USA that they can't push me very hard. Although, this is looking very dangerous. Let's go ahead and abandon Springfield before we lose this and we get men cut off. And we'll just withdraw to Little Rock, that's fine. So that whole bulge is then just gone, which actually serves us well, because it means that we're freeing up 5 more divisions. So I think I'm going to leave you 3 fighting, so I'm just going to have you 3 just withdraw straight away, and then we'll push back from the rest. And also, this is giving more of a border between the CSA and the USA, which again should put more pressure on our enemies, which is good. I like pressuring our enemies. What do your divisions look like? I mean, they're nothing particularly special. They're just 10 infantry and 1 artillery support. Early war still. Early war. I could potentially start getting tanks. Because we have now researched the heavies, have we not? We have. I could start adding heavy tanks to the infantry divisions. I kind of like that idea. We're making a surplus of artillery. So I think I might just do something like this. And actually, let's have 2 of you. And then anything else can be infantry equipment. It will take them a while to cycle up and get going properly, but they should be fine after that. Meanwhile, this offensive continues on pretty nicely. We may actually be able to cut this off. In fact, I think I'm going to change your orders with that in mind. Let's see if we can just get a cutoff for their entire east coast. So let's link you to there. And I'm also going to reduce your line frontage to that. To make that then happen. There we go. So you still have the planning preparation. You can continue your offensive to make that happen. But that is your new order. And this should give me access to like New York City, Philadelphia, and all of this is quite industrial. 9 slots, 10 slots. Yeah, they're still building this area up. 13 slots, 15 slots. There is a lot of industry over here. So that's going to be really quite good for us, which is awesome. Meanwhile, over here, we're actually starting to push back, and then you guys are being redistributed. I think I'm going to reduce the length of your line a bit. And Fiddlers, you are going to be responsible for a little bit more. You have spare troops, that should be just fine. Alright, good stuff, good stuff. Meanwhile, we're still pushing up there. Yeah, you guys can stop that offensive, I think. If they want to counterattack us here, that's totally fine. We'll see them off, not a problem. They've lost almost 200,000, we've lost less than 100,000, so it's 2-to-1 casualties, which is good. And we should definitely be causing them some equipment and manpower problems now, surely. I mean, they still don't have that many military factories. 6 or 7. The other thing which just occurred to me, we may actually want to drag this war out. Because the more of the war that drags out, the more of their industrial focuses they'll finish. I mean, it's the same with us. But as long as we just, like, hold the lines. Maybe we'll take the East Coast just to make sure that we are secure in what we're trying to do. And then let them get their focuses done. Oh, we're attacking... No, we're not. They're attacking. Yeah, we are attacking Washington. Interesting. Why don't you go ahead and support this? Oh, Baltimore even. I know geography. He even says. You guys, why are you... Okay, you are attacking again. Good. Good. Non-aggression with the PSA. And... yeah, so your line is looking a lot more solid now that you actually have some troops that you could bring in as reserves. I think we are going to pull back officially to Little Rock now. So that should be fine. And then Fiddlers, you are going to have a far more straightforward line to deal with. Any bulging will be up here, but honestly, as soon as this bit is cut off, then it's game over. So Fiddlers will continue to hold this bit, and then I'll switch Trottling to just go and take out their East Coast stuff. And we'll be done with that. Are there any naval battles still ongoing here? A couple. Not a huge number, but then again, we've lost our most of our submarines now. And actually our battleships fleet's looking fairly strong, because we've built a bunch of the new destroyers. I'm actually kind of tempted to go for a search and destroy just in the Florida coast. We'll see if we can get some kills that way. And if we can cut off their supply, then that'd be even better. One lesson you learn the hard way. Never take New York City last when fighting the CSA. They can retreat a lot of divisions there and you don't have long enough front to damage them. Always take the East Coast first. And Russia is really fun and somewhat stressful. Oh! Germany in 38. That's an early war. Probably over Switzerland, as per usual. Support. Okay, so we've got the industrial companies done. So we can get war economics, which is another 6 military factories. Or we can support the resource companies, which is another 10% production efficiency cap. Or 10% more resource gain efficiency. Well, we definitely want the war economics. The sinews of war are infinite money. So said Cicero in the ancient Roman Republic, and in the new American Republic that we are building, that holds true as well. The corporations are making the factories to win the war, and to win the war, all the factories need to be geared towards victory for America. Alright, let's do it. Was that a 49-day? That was a 49-day one. Interesting. A lot of these are very quick. Field hospital is complete. Fighter 1 is complete. So we could potentially switch some of the new factories to fighter production. It is still 38. 38 I know are available for these. I think I want to take the support weapons, so where we're trying to hold the line we can do that a little bit better. And in fact we have 2 research slots, so let's get both of them. Marvellous. Ooh, that's proving to be good. Second World Krieg has officially started, so the French and the Union of Britain troops should now be leaving. And the Germans are immediately pushing through Belgium. Interesting. So yeah, what were the bets on the fall of France? Baratia took 2 states from Burma? Was that Bhutan? It wasn't Bhutan. It was Nepal. Okay. Which they have since released. Though it wasn't a puppet, was it? And in fact, that's more than 2 states, so no. Who were you fighting against? You do have a truce with Nepal. I don't know who you were fighting. Never mind. Anyway, the whole world is now crazy with chaos and fighting. And Baltimore fell to the communists. Well, that's disappointing. Let's go and take it from them. Really enjoy the Serbia tree. Yeah, one of these days I'll have to try it. Except there are still one or two nations over there that don't have focus trees. Greece was one of them. And Romania does. What was the other one? Montenegro doesn't. Yeah, I'm just still kind of waiting for more of the Balkans to get them. Illyria. Does Illyria have a focus tree? I don't think it does. Maybe the Agrarian Revolt. Possible. Except that Gandhi's not in charge, so I don't think so. And actually, let's go ahead and reduce your lines a little bit more so we know exactly what we are focusing on here, because we want to make sure that none of them escape. That would be the very, very nice thing. Also, people are following, and I don't have my notifications up. My bad! Alexander Hamilton II and Dar Thief, thank you very much for the follows. I appreciate that. Oh, we've had a naval battle. They lost a submarine? No, I lost a submarine. Of course I lost a submarine, because submarines suck. And then there's another battle where another submarine has died. Because submarines suck. Meanwhile, they're just attacking there. That's fine. Are we suffering any losses anywhere? America doesn't seem particularly bothered about attacking us. CSA has stopped their pushes there. They're now trying to push us in the east, but that's probably because we are the ones doing the pushing. They're trying to push back. Although far less successfully. Still 50-50 in that war, and we're winning this one easily. Although I think that's going to be still mostly the PSA, honestly. Yeah, PSA are doing quite well. Oh, here we go. Naval battle. We've caught the American Navy with their carriers. I mean, this is battleships versus carriers, which is probably not a good thing. But I have a lot of destroyers, so that destroyers, unlike cruisers, have good air coverage. So they should be providing a pretty good bulwark for the battleships against their aircraft. Although we're not shooting very many of them down. And they have absolutely no screen for their carriers whatsoever. But we may well lose some battleships here. Oh no, that's organisation. No, organisation is fine. So long as the brown bar is not going down, like theirs is right now, then it's fine. So he sunk the 4 submarines, which apparently were their screen. And the new destroyers actually are doing the job. Chasing down and killing their ships. And then a whole bunch more submarines come in, but I have destroyers. Destroyers are anti-submarine. Well, everything is anti-submarine, but especially destroyers. It's the one good thing they're good at. Which is why submarines are so atrocious. Because there's literally nothing that they are good at. I think we may well be able to get the cutoff here. No, not quite. Let's push you up there. And let's have you doing a counter-attack against them, just to pin them in place while we push north. Russia declared war against Georgia. That means that Russia's not going to be doing any supporting in this war for a while yet, which is excellent. You guys are still holding strong elsewhere along the line. No real changes. And here we are. We are now home free. Let's have you pin him down while we pinch that, which means we're going to have the 2 provinces, which means that a cutoff here for us is far less likely. Marvellous. Have I played Darkest Hour, Kaiserreich? No, I don't actually own Darkest Hour. I'm not sure I ever would, either. Now having this. Although Hearts of Iron 3, I get a lot of enjoyment out of that, but that's more Black Ice than this. Right, so. You lot are now responsible for grabbing their front. And you are now all responsible for that side. Let's go ahead and delete you. And delete you. Good! And you still have your objective selected. Let me just make sure you're all actually assigned to it. Marvellous. Let's have you rushing across the top. Let's have you coming along here. And that should do. And then we'll have a couple more troops moving over to the other side. Try push towards New Mexico. I'm a little bit concerned about the number of supplies I have, so I'd rather not open too many fronts at once. Plus my elite troops are these guys, and these are the ones that are best at pushing because they have artillery support. The others don't. Right, naval battle. They lost 21 submarines because submarines are obviously awesome. And 2 carriers, and we lost nothing. That's what I like to see. And I think that's going to be the majority of the USA fleet gone. Although I've just noticed that you guys would welcome a push of your own. At least George Patton is pretty confident about an assault. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Because 1, that would use a lot of supply. 2, I kind of want this war to last a bit. And how's the technology going? Mobile warfare is almost done. At some point we will need to make sure that we get the heavy weapons manufacturer. Although between episodes I did notice that we are on partial mobilization and both of our opponents are already on war economy. So theoretically they should be outproducing us, though I haven't really seen much of that yet. Are you able to push into here by any chance? You are! That would be great. Because then we might be able to nip behind and grab Newark and New York. Can we even get to New York? Because New England is holding that. Yeah, I suspect it has to be through Newark, though. So what I might do is have you rush along the top, if at all possible. Lovely. How are we doing for heavy tanks? We still have 0. Mordred truly has gone down the corporate tree, prolonging war for his own benefit. I'm just staying true to the principles of the American Union State and its corporate sponsors. You should all go out and buy a Ford. Because Fords are great cars. And now another message from our other sponsors. Pelly incoming. I did accept Pelly's youth organization, I think. Even though it was a very, very obvious Hitler Youth. You're being stopped by them. Although you guys are all coming as reinforcements, so we do have some additional tricks up house collective sleeves. And you're about to be freed up to make the run. Yes, go! Go! I don't really care if you get cut off, because we can supply this. This is a naval yard. So as long as we take Newark / New York, that'd be great. Yes, take it. Don't let them retreat to it. War economics is done, so we got another 6 military factories. Excellent. Let's support the resource companies in that case. This is a modern war, and as such needs resources to win the war. Steel, coal, oil, aluminium, and more are all needed. Thankfully, there are a number of companies that are willing to support us. For every resource, there is a patriotic company standing there to help the true America take flight. Marvellous. And copyright strike incoming. Yeah, I guess copyrights are different from demonetizations, because trust me, I have enough problems with demonetizations as it is. This will definitely be demonetized, by the way. Even my channel update yesterday was demonetized. That's how ridiculous this gets. So I think we're about to take New York. How are you guys feeling about this war now? Still barely touched, because this I don't think is like your home territory. And we have apparently finished building the infrastructure, which is awesome. Right, where can we get the most factories? In fact, this is America, so there's going to be factories basically everywhere. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade the infrastructure everywhere to level 8. And then maybe from that point, start building the factories. I'm not sure. Or we could upgrade Georgia to its maximum, because we've already got the infrastructure companies. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's cancel these, and we'll do them one at a time. So we'll build up the infrastructure, build the factories, get the next one, build up the infrastructure, get the factories. So Georgia, you're going to be just civilian factories right now. I want those.